For centuries, alien empires believed humans were fragile, harmless, insignificant. They were wrong, catastrophically wrong, because the day they tried humiliating one human girl in an elite alien academy was the day the galaxy learned what a Deathworlder really is.
The Galactic Academy of High Ordanis hovered like a silver crown in the orbit of a blue giant star, gleaming with regal arrogance. For centuries, it had been the heart of the Dominion's pride, a place where only the most powerful species sent their brightest heirs. Dozens of alien races streamed through its wide, transparent corridors each day, their voices harmonizing in layered echoes as they discussed philosophy, warfare, and the future of the galaxy. Every species walked with the confidence of those born into empires, towering reptilian nobles, crystalline scholars whose bodies refracted light, and telepathic entities that pulsed with muted colors. Everyone moved with the certainty that they were higher beings in an orderly, civilized cosmos. And then a human walked in. Her name was Nara Hale, and the moment she stepped across the threshold, silence fell like a dropped curtain. Every alien eye shifted toward her, some with curiosity, some with annoyance, most with disdain. She was small compared to them, balanced on soft biological feet instead of claws or armored plating. Her brown hair fell simply to her shoulders, her eyes calm yet strangely piercing. Her bag hung lightly from one hand, as if she carried nothing of importance. She looked, in every measurable way, like the weakest creature in the room. No one tried hiding their reactions. Whispers slithered through the air. "That's the Deathworlder, the fragile one." Others wondered how her species even survived its own planet, a world infamous across the stars for lethal fauna, unstable weather, and hostile terrain. Some doubted it completely. Perhaps humans exaggerated their world to feel important. That was the popular belief, after all. Deathworlders were said to be dangerous, but every student in this academy knew one thing: the Dominion had not yet met a Deathworlder who impressed them. Nara didn't respond to the whispers. She walked through the corridor with a controlled, almost rhythmic pace, her breathing slow and even. It wasn't confidence exactly. It was something else, something primal, ancient and quiet, an instinctive steadiness that made some students shift away without understanding why. The first to approach her was Professor Vectel Seer, a Zorathian covered in obsidian plates that shimmered under the corridor lights. 4 meters tall and built like a walking fortress, he had the natural intimidation of a mountain poised to crush whatever lay beneath it. He looked down at her with a mixture of disdain and analysis. The Academy had reviewed her record, and he had been ordered to test her unusual resilience. According to the file, humans weren't very strong physically, but their survival statistics were abnormal. His voice rumbled deeply. "Human student, you claim to possess resilience beyond your species' reputation. We shall test this claim. Do not expect mercy." Nara gave a single, harmless nod. Her lack of fear unsettled him. Inside the classroom, she took her seat among towering aliens whose shadows fell over her desk. The room was built on an enormous scale, meant to accommodate students far larger and heavier than humans. Holographic walls displayed rotating simulations of catastrophic scenarios: planet collapse, creature attacks, atmospheric implosions, standard study material for Dominion elites. Behind her, she heard snickers. In front of her, she felt eyes watching with predatory amusement. No one respected a human, not here, not anywhere. When the instructor demanded she stand, Nara rose calmly. He projected a hologram of a monstrous predator, an armored titan with serrated limbs and a roar that shook the room. Several students flinched. A few instinctively boosted their internal shields. Even the instructor's voice vibrated with artificial gravity. "Human," he said with a sneer, "describe your emotional state." Nara studied the hologram with a faint tilt of her head. "Bored." The room exploded in laughter. A crystalline student nearly shattered from the force of their own amusement. The instructor blinked hard, uncertain whether she was joking, but Nara wasn't smiling. She wasn't mocking. She simply didn't care. "We had bigger ones in our backyard," she added. Mockery died. The class went quiet. Zalroth, the Reptraxian noble, whose scaled body glistened like wet obsidian, stood up, towering above all others. His species was engineered for war, with muscles dense enough to tear steel. His arrogance was generational, carved into his bones by centuries of domination. His 6 eyes narrowed venomously at the small human. "You lie," he hissed. "Humans are frail creatures born on a barbaric mud ball. Your species survives by accident, not strength." Nara's gaze lifted slowly to meet his, and for a moment there was no fear, no respect, no submission, only a cold, calculative precision that made several students look away. That was the moment some understood what was truly frightening about humans. They didn't bare fangs, they didn't roar, they didn't posture. They simply calculated. "Try me," she said quietly. Those words provoked a challenge that echoed across the academy. Zalroth called for a trial of strength. No weapons, no armor. The fight ended only when one opponent surrendered or collapsed. Humans were not meant to win these challenges. Some refused even to watch, assuming the outcome was predetermined. But curiosity was stronger. The arena filled with spectators from every species, all eager to see how quickly a human would fall. The ring was a smooth, metallic surface, reinforced with energy shields to absorb strikes from physically superior beings. Nara stepped into the center with no display of nerves. Zalroth entered like a war god expecting worship. His mere footsteps vibrated the floor. When the signal blared, Zalroth lunged with the confidence of a predator striking prey. Nara didn't move. She waited until the very last instant, until his shadow swallowed her, until his claws were inches away. Then she shifted her weight by a single footstep. That was enough. Zalroth crashed headfirst into the energy barrier with a thunderous impact that rippled through the arena. Students gasped. His species was known for precision. Such a mistake was humiliating. He scrambled up with rage bleeding through his vision. He charged again, faster, stronger. This time, Nara moved. She ducked, twisted, and hooked her arm under his shoulder in a way that defied physics. Using his own momentum, she flipped him over her body, sending him crashing into the alloy floor so hard the tiles dented beneath him. Shock rippled through the crowd. Humans weren't supposed to do that. Their bones weren't supposed to be that strong. Their tendons weren't supposed to withstand that torque. Zalroth staggered to his feet, humiliated and furious. Nara punched him once. A single, precise blow. No theatrics, no wasted energy, just pure efficiency. The impact sent him sliding brutally across the floor before he collapsed, unconscious. Silence thickened like a fog. Nara shook her hand, wincing lightly. "Your faceplates are hard," she muttered, as though mildly inconvenienced. The academy was thrown into chaos after that. Students whispered that the Deathworlder was more dangerous than they realized. Instructors questioned how she had performed such feats. Professor Vektelzir summoned her, demanding clarity. Nara explained little. Earth, she said, was not a death world because it was dangerous. It was a death world because it shaped humans into creatures that refused to die. Survivors, adaptable, relentless. Her voice had no pride, only fact. and that chilled him more than arrogance ever could. Before he could question further, alarms erupted throughout the academy. The lights dimmed, the walls shook, sirens blared with the unmistakable resonance of an existential threat. The Dominion was under attack. Professor Vectal Seer froze, horror spreading across his plated face. The identity of the invaders made him whisper words he never imagined uttering. The Karzul Legion, the strongest empire in the galaxy. Nara blinked slowly. "Stronger than you?" she asked. He swallowed. "Yes." She flexed her fingers. "Good," she said calmly. "I needed a workout." At that moment, for the first time in Dominion history, a Zarathian warrior felt fear, not of the invaders, but of the humans standing beside him, because something had awakened behind Nara's calm eyes, something the rest of the galaxy had forgotten, something the Earth had built quietly, relentlessly, without permission. A true Deathworlder, a predator wearing patience like a mask. The galaxy had always believed humans were fragile, but that was the day Nara Hale began proving otherwise. The lights of the academy flickered violently as the alarms shrieked through every corridor, vibrating through the bones of even the hardiest species. Doors clamped shut, shields activated. Students panicked in a dozen different languages as emergency lockdown protocols struggled to engage. The great orbital station, pride of the Dominion, trembled like a living creature struck by a colossal force. For Nara Hale, however, there was only a single thought echoing through her mind. So it begins. She had not come to this academy by accident. Humans rarely entered Dominion institutions, not because they were forbidden, but because they were considered unworthy. The Dominion believed humanity weak, unsophisticated, struggling. They were wrong, but humans didn't argue with arrogance. They simply waited, observed, prepared. And now, the greatest threat the Dominion had ever known had arrived, and the one person in the academy who felt no fear was the smallest one in the room. Professor Vectal Seer tried to steady himself as the station groaned under the external assault. His large frame swayed, plates clattering softly against each other. "Human, Nara, listen carefully. The Karzul Legion does not invade lightly. Their war fleets pulverize planets. Their soldiers are bred for destruction. You must evacuate with the other students." Nara tilted her head slightly. "Are you evacuating?" "No," he muttered. "I am faculty. I stay to defend the station." "Then I stay too." "You are a child," Vectal growled, losing composure. Nara met his gaze, unflinching. "I'm a human." And the professor, this towering giant of a war-forged species, felt a chill ripple down his spine. Before he could respond, the hallway shuddered as a violent boom tore through the station. A shockwave rippled, knocking delicate-bodied species to the floor. Sirens began wailing in lower pitches, signaling internal breach. The Karzul didn't just attack from orbit, they were boarding. Vectal's voice was barely above a whisper. "It's too late for evacuation." The corridor outside exploded inward. Shrapnel flew. The walls tore open. Smoke poured through the breach like an angry storm. And then they appeared. Massive silhouettes emerging from the darkness, stepping through twisted metal with heavy, coordinated thuds. The Karzul Legion. 7 feet tall, built like armored tanks, their bodies encased in interlocking exoskeletal plates that radiated a dull crimson glow. Their eyes were burning sulfuric yellow, filled with the cold calculation of species bred only for killing. They moved like a synchronized machine, no hesitation, no mercy.
One of them fixed its gaze on Nara, the smallest, most insignificant being in the hallway. "Identify," it growled in a guttural, synthesized voice. Nara didn't blink. "Human." The Karzul soldier cocked its head in curiosity. Its plates clicked. "Low-threat organism. Biological non-priority. Stand down or—" Nara moved before he finished. Not out of panic, not even as an act of defiance. She moved because she recognized something crucial in his tone, a flaw that every alien in the galaxy shared. They didn't just underestimate humans, they believed the lie of their own superiority. Nara's fist pistoned forward. The crack that followed was sharp, almost delicate, yet the Karzul soldier staggered backward as if struck by a charging beast. His armored jawplate fractured. A spray of sparks burst from the damaged exoskeleton. The soldier went down hard enough to shake the ground. Silence. Every alien in the hallway stared in disbelief. The Karzul soldier clawed at the ground, stunned. Unexpected impact vectors. Nara exhaled calmly, rolling her wrist. "You shouldn't talk so much." 3 more soldiers stepped forward, weapons clicking into charging positions. Their commander pointed at her. "Terminate the anomaly." They fired. Nara shoved Professor Vectal behind a collapsed support beam and sprinted forward, weaving through the volley with movement too fluid to belong to a species considered weak. The blasts shredded the ceiling, igniting wiring overhead. Nara closed distance in seconds and leapt, planting both feet against a soldier's chest plate to launch herself upward. She twisted mid-air, hands gripping the soldier's helmet, and wrenched it violently aside. The helmet tore free. The soldier collapsed without a sound. The second swung a serrated plasma blade. Nara ducked beneath the arc, swept his feet with a circular kick, then drove her knee into the vulnerable joint in his armor. A sickening crack rang out, metal bending under pressure from human bone. The third charged her directly. Nara didn't evade. She planted her feet, braced her shoulders, and absorbed the full impact like a stone embedded in the earth. The soldier recoiled, momentarily confused. Nara seized his plate straps and slammed him onto his back with a force multiplier only humans could generate, a combination of instinctive leverage, unnatural tendon elasticity, and Deathworld-forged musculature evolved under harsh gravity. Vectal Seer stared as though witnessing an impossible miracle. Humans should not be capable of such feats. Their bodies were biological anomalies, not designed for war, not born of ancient militaristic empires. And yet, Nara Hale fought like gravity itself bent to her will. The professor whispered, almost reverently, "Your species, what are you truly?" Nara wiped blood from her lip, not hers, and answered simply, "Adaptable." The battle intensified across the station. Explosions rumbled through the levels like thunder rolling across a metallic sky. Nara and Vectal moved through the corridors, the professor clearing paths while Nara dealt with threats that slipped through. Students who once mocked her now clung to her presence like a lifeline. Even the arrogant species, the crystalline scholars, the telepathic aristocrats, the Reptraxian nobles, were forced to accept a truth they had always denied. A human was protecting them. Many were injured, some collapsed from fear rather than wounds. Nara carried a towering insectoid scholar over her shoulder despite the weight difference, as though he weighed nothing. She moved with preternatural calm, the kind shared by predators who had survived far worse. But something else haunted her expression, a faint awareness, a recognition. She had seen this type of invasion before, just not here, not in this galaxy. When the 5th shockwave hit the station, Vectal stopped abruptly.
We must reach the central command chamber. The Academy may still defend itself. Or, Nara said, we take the fight to them. You want to board a Karzul warship? If we don't, Nara replied, they'll breach the reactor core and vaporize this station. Her voice lowered, and Earth taught us one thing: don't wait for danger to grow. Vectal shivered. Humans were supposed to fear, but this one treated fear like an optional accessory. They reached the central observation deck, a vast chamber with panoramic windows overlooking the void. What they saw outside froze every mind in the room. The Karzul Armada, not one ship, not 10, hundreds, black, predatory vessels shaped like elongated spears, their hulls glowing with molten red veins. The Dominion fleet, once the most feared in this region of the galaxy, was being decimated. War cruisers broke apart like glass, carrier ships ignited in brilliant plumes, escape pods scattered like frightened insects. The Dominion was losing. Vectal nearly collapsed. It makes no sense. Why here? Why now? Why invade an academy? Nara stepped forward, eyes narrowing. They're not invading the academy. She pointed to the center of the Karzul formation. They're after that. A colossal flagship dominated the battlefield, larger than entire cities, its superstructure pulsing like a living organ, a weapon of unimaginable magnitude charged at its core.
Vectal's voice cracked. A star conversion cannon! One shot will end us! The Karzul had brought a weapon meant to erase worlds for an academy. It made no sense. Unless, Nara stiffened, unless they weren't here for the academy, unless they were here for someone in it. A sudden realization cut through her mind like a blade, chilling and sharp. They were here for her. Her arrival wasn't ignored. Humanity had long been underestimated, but only because they stayed silent, hidden, appearing harmless. But Earth had been preparing for decades, maybe longer, and some empires had finally learned that humanity was not what it seemed. Before panic could rise, the window shattered inward as a Karzul elite warrior crashed through, landing with earth-shaking force. Taller than the others, heavily plated, with molten veins pulsing across its armor in rhythmic surges, its eyes locked onto Nara with predatory precision. "There you are," it growled, as if amused. "The Deathworlder." Nara stepped forward, shoulders loose, breathing steady. "You've been looking for me." The warrior straightened. "Humanity has hidden long enough. Your species is an anomaly, one the Karzul will dissect and unravel." The Dominion students whimpered behind Nara. Vectal's ear trembled. The Karzul warrior extended a clawed hand toward her. "Surrender, and the rest will suffer less." Nara smiled, not cruelly, not defiantly, just knowingly. "You think you're the first empire to try that?" The warrior lunged. What followed shook the observation deck. Metal screamed, air shuddered, sparks rained like falling stars. Nara moved with a fluidity that defied reason, absorbing blows that should have broken her ribs, dodging strikes that blurred the air, countering with precision honed not by training, but by evolution itself. Her heel cracked the warrior's knee plating, her elbow dented his core armor, her fist shattered his facial visor. The warrior roared, bleeding luminous fluid, grabbing her by the throat and lifting her high. The Dominion students cried out as her feet dangled above the floor. But Nara did not claw at his hand. She did not gasp. She simply raised her eyes to meet his and smiled again. Humans were fragile, yes, but they were also impossible. Her legs coiled, then snapped outward like steel-loaded springs. The kick was so violent the warrior's chest imploded. The giant collapsed in a heap, plates crushed inward like folded paper. Nara landed lightly, exhaling once. Behind her, every alien stepped back in terror and awe. Vectals stared as if seeing a myth come alive. The Karzul elite had fallen to a human. Nara wiped the glowing fluid from her chin. "All right," she murmured. "I'm boarding that flagship." Nobody argued. No one could, because in that moment, the truth became crystal clear to every witness. The galaxy had feared the wrong species, and Nara Hale, the quiet girl from the death world called Earth, was only just getting started.
The air inside the emergency shuttle tasted of metal and ozone, the residue of 1,000 rushed evacuations. But Nara Hale wasn't evacuating. She sat alone at the controls, fingers tapping with steady rhythm, while the academy behind her burned against the blackness of space. The Dominion emergency codes screamed across the comms, pleading for reinforcements that wouldn't arrive in time. The Karzul fleet had planned this too perfectly. They had come to break the Dominion's pride, but Nara understood something deeper. They hadn't come for the Dominion, they had come for her. The shuttle blasted forward through debris fields, weaving past molten fragments of destroyed cruisers. Outside the viewport, the Karzul flagship loomed ahead, an impossibly massive vessel shaped like a spear carved from black volcanic glass, its surface glowing with molten red veins, as if fire lived beneath its armor. The closer she came, the more the ship felt less like an object and more like a living creature, pulsing with malevolent intent. Most beings would tremble before such a monster. Nara simply leaned closer, studying the hull for a breach point. Humans always adapted, even to nightmares. The shuttle slammed into the flagship's underbelly with a magnetic clamp, the force rattling through Nara's bones. Sparks burst from the docking console. Alarms wailed angrily. Nara barely noticed. She grabbed onto the emergency breaching gear. Primitive, simple, and exactly what a human preferred. When technology failed, brute force remained. She attached the breacher to the hull, braced her legs, and triggered it. A white-hot ring carved into the ship's plating, molten metal dripping like burning tears. When the circle fell inward, Nara dropped into the unknown belly of the beast. Darkness swallowed her. The air inside the flagship was dense, humid, almost thick with hostility. It smelled like scorched minerals and old battles. Strange organic cables pulsed along the walls, carrying energy like veins. Each pulse reminded her that she stood inside something forged for one purpose: destruction. She began walking. Her footsteps were soundless on the dark metal floor, but the ship seemed to notice her anyway, lights flickering awake in its depths. Red glows traveled down the hallway like eyes opening. Nara felt no fear, only clarity. The same primal focus that had kept humans alive through millions of years on Earth now synchronized perfectly with the threat around her. The Karzul soldiers appeared wordlessly, moving as if telepathically coordinated. Their exoskeletal plates clacked, their weapons hummed. They spread into a semicircle around her, confident that this hunt was already over. One stepped forward. "Human, you will come with us." Nara examined them calmly. "Why? You want to study humans that badly?" The soldier's chest plates expanded, a sign of irritation. "Your species hides its evolution. The Dominion shares nothing. Humans are a biological enigma, too resilient, too adaptive, too lethal." Nara raised a brow. "So you noticed." The nearest soldier lunged. He didn't even finish the step before Nara moved. Her body was a blur of precision and violence. one fist connecting with a jaw plate, one elbow cracking a chest harness, one twist snapping a joint that shouldn't bend. The soldier hit the floor hard and didn't move again. The others charged. The hallway thundered with metal impacts, weapon blasts, fragments exploding from the walls. Nara ducked under plasma fire, slid across the floor, swept a soldier's legs with a kick strong enough to fracture alloy plating. She pivoted, grabbed two soldiers by their armor straps, and slammed their heads together with a sound like colliding boulders. Sparks showered the corridor. A blade grazed her shoulder. She hissed but didn't stop. Pain was not an obstacle, it was simply more information. She jammed her knee into another soldier's abdomen, ripping off his weapon with the same motion. In one smooth arc, she spun and fired, blasting a plasma round into the exposed joint of another soldier's neck plate. Molten light erupted. The soldier collapsed. 5 bodies lay around her. Nara cracked her knuckles. "You guys train for thousands of cycles," she said quietly, "but humans spend millions of years surviving nature trying to kill us." The ship vibrated suddenly, not from battle, but from recognition. The flagship wasn't reacting to her presence, it was preparing for her. Nara pressed deeper into the ship. Doors sealed automatically behind her. Pressure systems changed. The temperature rose. The ship was alive and adapting, the way predators adapt to unexpected prey. But humans always adapted faster. She followed the pulsing cables, recognizing them as energy arteries leading to the center. The deeper she got, the more the air throbbed with power. She felt each vibration inside her bones, like the heartbeat of a colossal creature. The hallways widened until she reached a chamber so vast it seemed like a hollowed-out star. And there, floating at the center, was the core nexus. A sphere of molten crimson, suspended by anti-grav fields. It was the heart of the flagship, the engine, the brain, the weapon. A single overcharge could fire the star conversion cannon. A single rupture could tear the ship apart. Nara was not alone. Standing before the core nexus was a Karzul warlord, towering, massive, his armor carved with symbols of conquest. His plates glowed brighter than the others, molten streaks pulsing like veins of lava. He radiated authority and violence in equal measure. His voice rumbled through the chamber. "Human, you walk into death willingly." Nara wiped blood from her chin. "Death and I have an understanding. You survived entry, impressive for your fragile biology." "Fragile?" She smiled thinly. "You keep using that word." The warlord didn't move. He merely studied her. "We have analyzed hundreds of species. None evolved as chaotically as yours. You are unpredictable, uncontrolled. It makes your kind dangerous." "And that's a problem?" "It is unacceptable," he growled. "Humans refuse to die when they should. You adapt when you shouldn't. You thrive where others perish." "Sounds like we're good at living." "It makes you uncontrollable." His eyes narrowed. "The galaxy cannot have that." For the first time, Nara understood the truth. They weren't here because she was a threat. They were here because humanity was an imbalance, something the old empires couldn't categorize, a variable that refused to obey their logic. The warlord stepped forward, each footstep shaking the chamber. "You are here to show me why your species must be extinguished." Nara rolled her shoulders and raised her fists. "Then come find out." He charged. The force of his steps cracked the floor. His armored fists swung like meteors. Nara dodged the first blow by inches, feeling the air compress behind her. She aimed a kick at his knee, but her foot bounced off the armor like she had kicked a wall. He laughed. His backhand slammed into her ribs. Pain burst through her side like fire. She hit the ground and slid across the metal floor, coughing violently. She forced herself up. Humans always forced themselves up. The warlord advanced. You are strong for a human, but you are still flesh. Nara didn't answer. She lunged. Their collision sent shockwaves through the chamber. She launched a barrage of strikes, elbows, knees, fists, aiming for weak spots, armor joints, exposed plates. But the warlord blocked relentlessly, countering with brute force that sent Nara reeling again and again. He was faster. He was stronger. He was built to kill. But humans weren't built. They were shaped. Nara staggered to her feet once more, blood dripping from her face. She wiped it with the back of her hand, steadying her breath. The warlord tilted his head. Your species is persistent, admirable, futile. Nara smiled through pain. Persistence is how we survived Earth. She charged again, not at him, but past him. The warlord pivoted in confusion as Nara sprinted toward the core nexus. She leapt, gripping onto the levitation rails with a raw, desperate strength that made her arms scream. She swung herself up, reaching the floating sphere, heat searing her skin. The warlord roared, "No!" He lunged after her, but Nara had already jammed her hand into the cooling seam of the core housing. Her skin burned. Pain blurred her vision, but she held on. Humans always held on longer than they should. Using her entire body weight, she ripped the panel open, and the core shrieked in warning as energy erupted from within. The warlord howled, "You will die!" Nara grinned. "We all die. Humans just choose when." She slammed the overloaded conduit into the core. The chamber detonated. A shockwave tore through the flagship. Sirens wailed in agony. The warlord was thrown backward, his armor fracturing. Nara felt the heat engulf her, saw the world spin, felt the energy burn every nerve. Then, silence. Dark, heavy, suffocating silence. Nara collapsed against the fractured platform, breathing raggedly. The core flickered violently, the entire ship groaning in structural pain. But she wasn't dead. Humans weren't that fragile. Above her, the warlord struggled to his feet. Smoke billowed from his armor. He stared at her in disbelief. "You survived that?" Nara forced a laugh. "Yeah. Humans are hard to get rid of." The warlord roared, and the battle wasn't over. The battlefield was strangely quiet after the Karzul flagship fell into silence, its engines dying one by one like extinguished stars drifting into cold darkness. Smoke curled upward from the shattered metal, drifting lazily across the fractured landing bay. The scent of burnt alloy lingered like a warning, but Nara stood in the center of the destruction as if the chaos belonged to her, as if the galaxy had finally aligned itself with her heartbeat. The armor she had stolen flickered, sparking at the seams where her punches had cracked the plates, leaving faint burns on her skin. Yet she stood upright, calm, breathing steadily. Around her, multiple Karzul soldiers lay trembling rather than unconscious. They were watching her, studying her, fearing her. Professor Vektal Zir approached her with slow, careful steps, as if nearing a wild star beast that might suddenly turn and tear reality apart. He had fought alongside her, but even he struggled to understand what he had witnessed. Speed beyond measurable limits, precision that defied physics, and strength that had no right belonging to a human. His voice was lower than usual, quieter, almost reverent. He asked her what she truly was, not what species she came from, he already knew that, but what she was. Nara brushed dust from her arm, not looking up. She didn't have an answer, only an instinct she had carried since childhood, the knowledge that humans survived because they refused to die when the universe demanded it. But the battle wasn't over. The station shook again, not from weapons fire, but from something larger, something older. The Karzul flagship had not been the true threat. It had only been a shell hiding something far worse. Deep beneath the deck, in a bay sealed by layers of biomagnetic locks, a dark pulse rippled like the heartbeat of a sleeping titan. Nara felt it before anyone saw it. The air tightened, the lights dimmed, and a low vibration crawled through her bones. The soldiers froze. Even Vectal stiffened, his plates clicking in alarm. A whisper of ancient mechanical hunger rose from below, and Nara realized that the Karzul had not come to conquer the station. They had come to unleash something buried within it. A hatch exploded open on the lower floor, and from the cloud of steam and molten metal emerged a creature built entirely for extermination, a war machine. 40 feet tall, covered in jagged obsidian plating, powered by cores older than most empires. The Dominion had kept it locked away because even they could not control it. The Karzul had come to free it, to let it tear apart their enemies, no matter the cost. The machine scanned the bay with red lights that cut through the smoke like blades. When its sensors locked on Nara, its posture changed. Something like curiosity seeped into its mechanical movements, as if it recognized something familiar inside her, something it feared. The Maheen lunged. Vectal shouted her name, but Nara was already moving. She darted forward, dodging its colossal arm by a breath. The ground cracked beneath the force of its strike, sending metal slabs upward like splinters. She slid beneath its legs and slammed her fist into a joint, cracking the reinforced plating. The machine staggered, surprised. It had classified her as an organic threat level near 0. Now its calculations updated violently, red warnings flashing across its internal systems. Nara leapt onto its back, clinging to a ridge of armor and tearing into the cables beneath. Sparks rained like burning snow. But the machine wasn't merely strong, it was adaptive. It twisted with impossible speed, flinging her into a wall. Metal cracked behind her spine. She tasted blood. For a moment, the world blurred, lights spinning, gravity tilting. She forced herself to stand, wiping her mouth. The machine stomped forward, each step shaking the deck like an earthquake. Its core glowed brighter, gathering heat and power. A plasma beam charged in its chest, ready to obliterate her.
The watchers at the edges of the bay, Dominion students, soldiers, even injured Karzul, held their breath. No human should survive this. No creature from a death world should be capable of resisting such force. But Nara didn't step back. She inhaled deeply, feeling the pain settle into her bones like fire. She needed that fire. She embraced it. She let it sharpen her. And then she ran. The machine fired. She jumped. The world became a streak of light and heat rushing past her, melting the walls behind her. She landed on the machine's chest plate, still hot from the blast, her shoes burning. She screamed through clenched teeth as she drove her fist into the plasma core housing. The metal resisted, groaning, bending. The machine grabbed her with a massive hand, crushing her ribs. She cried out, but she didn't stop. Every Deathworld instinct inside her roared. Every ancestor who survived impossible eras lived through her pulse. She drove her fist deeper. The core cracked. Energy spilled out like liquid sunlight. With a final push, she ripped the core free.
the machine collapsed, its towering frame crashing down in a shower of sparks and smoke. Nara dropped to her knees, clutching the core, barely able to breathe. Pain radiated through her lungs with every inhale. Her ribs were fractured, maybe broken. Her knuckles bled. Her vision swayed like a dying star. But she was alive. The machine was not. Silence spread throughout the bay. Then someone began to clap. It was Professor Vectel Ix, slow, thunderous, almost ceremonial. Then another student joined, then another. Soon, the entire Dominion station resounded with applause, echoing through every corridor. Aliens of dozens of species bowed their heads toward the lone human, not in mockery, not in arrogance, but in genuine awe.
The Karzul soldiers did not clap. They knelt, not to surrender, but in recognition. Nara Hale had done what they thought impossible. She had defeated an ancient war machine with nothing but her will, her instincts, and the impossible resilience of humanity. She had shown them what a Deathworlder truly was, not a fragile creature, not a primitive animal, but a living paradox of strength and vulnerability, a force the galaxy had underestimated for far too long. Vectel approached her and helped her stand. His voice, normally cold and clipped, trembled. He asked her what humans were truly capable of. She looked out across the bay at the aliens watching her with new eyes no longer clouded by arrogance. She said the words quietly, but they carried through the station with the weight of truth. Humans don't fight because we want to win. We fight because we refuse to lose. The Dominion recovered the station. The Karzul withdrew, silently reevaluating every assumption they had ever made about Earth. The galaxy shifted that day, subtly but permanently. Treaties changed, borders weakened, empires hesitated. The Dominion began to study humans differently, not as creatures to mock, but as potential allies or threats to be respected. And every alien who witnessed Nara's battle carried the story onward like a myth reborn. Some said she fought like a star refusing collapse. Others said she was the first true Deathworld champion. But Nara herself knew none of that mattered. She had simply done what humans always do: survive the impossible and reshape the universe in the process.
And that, Deathworlders, is where today's journey ends. If you felt the fire in every moment, if this story pulled you into the battle and reminded you why humanity never bows, then your support means everything. Stories like this take time, energy, and love to craft, and every like, every comment, every subscribe tells me you want more. It fuels the channel, and it keeps these worlds alive. So if you enjoyed this tale, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who loves HFY as much as you do. Your support isn't just appreciated, it's what powers the next story. Thank you for standing with me, and thank you for being part of this Deathworlder family. See you in the next chapter, warrior.